Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name is Jim. Thanks for riding along today down this old gravel dirt road in my old pickup truck. We're not going to go much over 30 miles an hour. We'll kick up too much dust. Take in the sights, sit back and relax. You can find us at babyboomertales.com. Once you've arrived at our webpage, there are places where you can link to, like our Boomer's General Store. Many places you can hear our podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. There's a link there that you can get on and review our book and purchase it if you would care to. I think it's a great book. It's about a time that I was about 64 years old and got myself fired. And everything I had to go through to forgive and get on with the program, I tried to tell about. A year ago, we had a segment on Kate's General Store that had Homer taking a selfie with a Polaroid camera. Now that episode was set in 1980, and old Homer thought he had invented the selfie. In fact, he named it. So this is nothing new. Back in 1980, Homer Cates. Our unusual fact: most selfie takers' average age is 23.6 years old. That makes them millennials, or Generation Y. That generation's birth dates are between 1981 and 1996. Millennials will take around 25,700 selfies in their lifetime. The Oxford English Dictionary made the word selfie the word of the year back in 2013.
Jim, your math is off. You don't know how to add. Yeah. They're not millennials.
Our top 10 pop songs 55 years ago. That's the top 10 popular songs this week in 1969. Number 10, Dizzy, Tommy Rowe. Number 9, Worst That Could Happen, Brooklyn Bridge. Number 8, Baby Baby Don't Cry, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Number 7, by Jay and the Americans, This Magic Moment. Number 6, You Showed Me, The Turtles. Number 5, by Creedence Clearwater Revival, Proud Mary. Number 4, Touch Me, The Doors. Number 3, Build Me Up, Buttercup, The Foundations. Number 2, Crimson and Clover, Tommy James and the Shondells. And the number 1 song for the 3rd week in a row, it'll end up with 4 weeks of being the number 1 song, Everyday People, Sly and the Family Stone. Facebook is the number 1 social media platform for sharing selfies. This is a little strange to me because Facebook is becoming more and more popular with older people than with younger people. But the millennials are now in their 40s or 50s, some of the older millennials. The second most popular sharing selfies is text messages. The Eiffel Tower is the most popular place for selfies. Now, if you don't want to go to France, I see London, I see France, I see... No, if you don't want to or can't or whatever, you can go to Vegas. They have the Eiffel Tower there, don't they? Along with the Statue of Liberty and a pyramid and Piff the Magic Dragon, all that stuff. The first ever selfie is an oil painting in 1524. A young artist named Parmigianino, have to say that with an Italian accent, I do believe. He painted his reflection. There's a little bit of discrepancy here. There's a gentleman named Albert Dürer in 1493 supposedly had painted his Selfie. So they're both taking credit for it, but it seems that the 21-year-old artist has the leg up on that. They have a museum that features that. A museum featuring a selfie. Maybe it's a selfie museum. I didn't really get into that part of it. That'd be weird. I'm sure there is a selfie museum somewhere, though. And if not, there will be. Let's not forget Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait in 1889. In 1839, Robert Cornelius took the first photographic selfie. Now, he didn't have his phone. He turns the thing around and holds it up there. None of that stuff. If you remember those cameras back then, if you can picture a guy taking pictures of the Civil War, those cameras in 1839 were even more antique. But he set the camera on a stand, he pushes the shutter, then he ran around and stood in front of the camera before the shutter reacted. Amazing. He'd have made a good millennial. There's a red flag about selfies. Well, there's more than one. Psychologists believe that taking selfies is addictive. There's actually a selfie addiction that is a mental health issue and can lead to or expose serious obstacles. So don't get into that. You probably won't, knowing my audience, but don't be a lover of self. It's okay to take a selfie once in a while, though, I guess. If you can handle it, I can't handle it. 68% of selfie takers admit to editing their photos. So you don't like the way you look? Now, if you hold that camera too low, if you hold your phone too low, probably not a camera anymore. If you have a camera, I've got a really nice camera. It's a small one. It's not like an SLR, which my wife has one of those, but it's for film and she hasn't used it for years. But this little camera, we bought it when the grandkids started coming around, that video camera, and we don't use either one anymore. But if you hold it too low, it makes your nose look big. That's why you want to take it like higher than your head and point down at yourself. In 2014, Scrabble accepted the word selfie. Phones are the number one way to take selfies, but I don't like them for one reason. Say I'm wearing a hat that says Grand Canyon, and you take your selfie, and that printing on that hat that says Grand Canyon is going to be like you're looking in a mirror. I have no idea why the phone manufacturers don't make that so you don't have that situation where everything's backwards. I know you reverse the screen so you can see what you're taking, so you can see yourself on your phone so you're in the picture. I know that. But surely they have a way to reverse it twice and leave that picture of you on the screen. Just a thought, Apple. I'm surprised the Galaxy hasn't done it. So I don't know. I would like to be able to take a selfie of me and have my hat say Grand Canyon. Anymore, I wear a hat that says Baby Boomer Tales. So I want it, if I'm going to take a picture of myself and post it to our Facebook page to try to promote the podcast, it looks pretty bush league. I feel that if the printing on Baby Boomer Tales ball cap looks like I took a picture in the mirror. That's all you're kind of doing is taking a picture in the mirror. Don't use your flash. Do you know that selfies are 5 times more dangerous than shark attacks? But then again, shark attacks aren't all that dangerous. More people get killed by cows and horses than get killed by sharks. Well, more of us have our feet on the ground than in the ocean. There's a lot of people in the ocean. Sharks have gotten a bad rap. I'm not making that something that you shouldn't be aware of. I saw Jaws. That everyday living is probably a lot more dangerous than getting killed by a shark. Hi Homer, how you doing? Jerry, I can't keep those Polaroid cameras in stock. I sold 4 in the last month, and I rent them all the time. That and VCR players. Well, that sounds like a good thing, Homer, so you make a little money off of it. Ever since I showed those people that come in our store how to take a selfie, well, people buy them just for that, Jerry. I don't know. You know, every once in a while when I take a selfie, I only get half my face. Sometimes I'm just looking up my nose. But people sure like them, Jerry. Well, Homer, you have to understand the human psyche. People like to look at themselves in a mirror. People like to look at themselves in a store window as they're walking down the sidewalk. People like to have home movies taken of themselves. And people always like for you to mention it. I guess you're right, Jerry. But I don't want anybody seeing how many hairs are in my nose. That is between me and my Polaroid camera. As we go through life, there are many things that tempt us, good and bad, and there are things that can become bad that inherently they are not bad at all. One thing is money. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. It never said that money's the root of all evil. But if you let money and the love of it and the lust for it control you, you'll find yourself doing things that under any normal circumstance you may never dream of doing. I kind of put your phone in that kind of category with selfies. Now, selfies aren't inherently bad, like I just said. And there's nothing wrong with snapping a picture of yourself and standing in front of some place you've never been to send to your brother or your sister or your next door neighbor while you're on vacation or something like that. But to be obsessed with, I have to have a selfie stick and I'm always looking for a place to take a selfie and how many likes am I going to get on Facebook when I post this selfie, and I think I'll post a selfie every day and maybe I'll post 2 selfies a day and I'll post everything I'm doing and everything I'm thinking and take a picture of it also. That can get a little over the top, believe you me. And I can see where, just like everything, a little is something that is good for you, a lot can be detrimental to your physical and mental health. So have fun with selfies. It's great. It's fun. You save that picture, but don't let the selfie control you. And for goodness sakes, be careful. As I was trying to get some ideas for this podcast, I saw pictures of people taking selfies, standing on things they had no business standing on, doing things that if you were thinking in your right mind you would probably never do just to get that selfie. And no wonder so many people get killed taking them. Maybe this is a public service podcast. Don't take so many selfies. Or maybe I just had to come up with an idea. Now, I cannot take a selfie very good. I try, and I've talked about this before. For some reason, because you have to click and hold the phone up and be holding it and look like you're being normal and natural standing there, and now you have to take your thumb, I guess that's how I try to do it, and click the shutter, you know, the little circle, the bottom of the phone, you have to touch it, and you got to kind of touch it so it'll engage it, or else, you know, it's not. And I'm just really not able to do that very well. I'm not coordinated enough, and yet I'm not uncoordinated. I used to do a lot of sports and things like that. I can do things without falling all over myself. So I'm not uncoordinated, but to take a selfie like you see all these young folks, well, millennials on down, do, it's kind of hard. I have found that as much as I like having my phone for a camera, that if I'm out with family and stuff and people are taking pictures, I just ask, like I ask a daughter, will you send me those pictures that you've been taking today? It's much easier that way, and I'm not missing everything. What I find I use my phone for more than anything is I see something on sale and I'm buying it, and I take a picture of the little tag that says it. So when I get up to the check stand and it's saying regular price instead of sale, I can show them without them sending some 15-year-old boy back there to check the price, and we're waiting 10 minutes for him to get back. Who knows, he saw some girl he decided to talk to instead of doing his job and getting back with me as I'm standing there arguing about the price. I'm not going to argue about the price. This brings me one last thing before we end our selfie episode. I'm always saying, stand up for yourself and all this stuff. Last week at the grocery store, there was some ham that it was like $2.50 for a half a pound. It was good, a good deal. And you buy two, you get one free. So I bought two. And I went on my way, and I always check my receipt before I leave the store. At the grocery store, I let them check me out. At the Walmart, I don't. I check myself out. It's better that way, I think. But the grocery store, and I always check my ticket in the little foyer over by the ice machines and stuff before I leave the building. Well, this said like $2.50 for the ham. And the second one was $2.50, and the discount was $1.80. They shortchanged me 70 cents. And I looked at that, and I looked back where I'd have to go back into the store to customer service, and I looked at it, and I thought to myself, I'm tired today of fighting this every time I come to the store. And I just left. I ate the 70 cents, and it's been bothering me ever since. I told my wife when I got home, she looked at me and said, that doesn't sound like you at all. Always be kind, no matter what the circumstances. I'll be back next Wednesday. Say cheese. Peace out.